One of my absolute favorite things to cook when the family or friends come around is, of course, a roast. Everyone loves a roast, but there are ways and means to make it absolutely sexy and absolutely perfect. One of the most tricky roasts, or people think is the most tricky, is pork with its crackling. Now, I can guarantee that you will get your pork crackling perfect every time, and I'm just about to show you how. Everyone seems to get very terrified at the thought of getting pork crackling perfect every single time. But if you just know the secrets behind that pork crackling, you will have success, and in fact, you'll never stress about it again. And this could in fact become one of your signature dishes too. Now, obviously, with a pork roast or belly, I've got loin and I've got a shoulder as well. One of the most important things you must remember is that with pork belly and with pork crackling, we need to give it some time and some love, and that's about all we need to do that is difficult. So like I said, pork belly with perfect crackling is a fantastic thing to do, especially if you've got a big dinner party, because essentially we do all the work an hour and a half to 2 hours before the guests arrive, and then the oven does all the work. So what I've got today is I've got a loin roast, I've also got a pork shoulder, and you can do exactly the same thing with a pork belly if you prefer, but your secret weapon today is learning how to braise. So braising is exactly the same as roasting, but with a cooking liquid attached. So that's when we can add beautiful flavor and personality to those dishes. So I'm going to get started on these. These often will come, and you can buy them at your supermarket or from your butcher, and they'll obviously they'll often be trussed or rolled up in a little bit of netting. Now, I actually like to take those off just to help this meat cook down faster. What I've done is I've taken that off, and that's the loin roast. I'm going to try get that pork skin nice and straight, and I'm also just going to cut into this flesh just to help it cook down faster and get obviously flavor in there and try to make this more tender. So we are going to carve it up later. Often you'll do a shredded pork, so it doesn't matter if we damage that flesh just a little bit, but most importantly is getting the flavor and the heat right in there to help this cook and break down. I'm going to cut that netting off that pork shoulder, and that'll do the same thing. We're going to turn that guy around, and with a nice sharp knife, I've got my lovely Victorinox rosewood handle here, we're going to cut that down. Again, this will just help it cook down faster, tenderize it down, and like I said, get all that flavor and the personality. And now there's nothing worse if you've ever been to a dinner party before and that horrible smell of pork. When pork is not cooked properly, it often smells like grey pork, and that's not sexy at all. So we are never going to do that, and I'm going to show you how to solve that little problem. So as you can see here, I'm going to try get that skin nice and flat. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make up a beautiful cooking liquid. Now, we're going to start off with just a weak chicken stock. Now, the nice thing about doing these roasts is you can theme it different every time. So, for example, we could go around the world with your pork roast. We could do a Thai style by cooking it down with a bit of coconut cream and like a Chiang Mai curry paste or something. We could also do it Spanish style or Moroccan style. I'm going to go with the Spanish style today. To make this into a beautiful Spanish style, I'm going to be using some magnificent Spanish ingredients. So into that plain chicken stock, and you can use a vegetable stock, I'm going to add some turmeric. Now, turmeric is fantastic, as I've told you before, to stain your food, and it's a natural spray tan, and the more turmeric we can get into our food, the better. Also then some beautiful smoky paprika. Now, if you don't have the smoky paprika, you can just use your sweet paprika, but make sure that it's beautiful and fresh, okay, so that it has that beautiful flavor to it. That, as you can see, has transformed this boring chicken stock into something very glamorous. Now, that's going to add lots of flavor. The other thing that when we think about Spanish food is that chorizo sausage. So you can get these at your deli. They're nice to keep in the freezer. You can use them into different dishes. And what I've done is I've actually put that into my little food processor, and I've actually blended up that chorizo sausage so that it makes a chorizo gravel or a chorizo dust. That will get the flavor through this beautiful cooking liquid and really make that Spanish style pop out. So this is really quick and easy to put together. Once you've seasoned your cooking liquid, your braising liquid, we're going to put that into a lovely roasting tray. Now, choose a roasting tray that is just big enough for your food. So if you've only got a small little roast, don't choose your biggest roasting tray, is what I'm trying to say. That skin is relatively dry. If it really was wet, you could just pat it down with paper towel. Don't worry about putting it in the fridge overnight. You don't always know that you're having pork roast until the day it happens, so don't stress if you haven't had time to put it in the fridge overnight. As you can see, that's sort of lying in the cooking liquid. I'm going to add some of that chorizo mince or gravel that I processed up. By all means, you could just chop this and put that in there. This is really going to flavor that cooking liquid. It's going to add some beautiful personality, and it'll actually form part of the sauce that we are serving with this lovely dish later. And you could serve this with anything that you would generally serve your roast meal with. And of course, that butter bean puree that I'm so in love with would be fabulous with this as well. So if your pork skin is sort of drooping down on the sides, we can use a Culinary high heel just to prop that up, also known as a slice of onion, just to pop that side up, just so that it all does roast evenly. And this is the trick that I'm trying to show you, is so that you have stress-free pork belly and crackling every single time, is to get the skin nice and flat and laid out. The best way to season this is just with some table salt in your little tea strainer, and that really is like salt snow going on there, very nice and evenly. And then into the oven. So guys, as you can see, that's absolutely perfect. Lots of crackling there, and this is what it should sound like. And that's when you know it's going to be absolutely perfect. So the big secret about the pork crackling was, first of all, getting that pork skin to be nice and flat, and I did that by using the little onion high heels. Now, at the last, if it's been in the oven for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, and it's time to serve and you don't have crackling yet, the secret is, and you saw me do it in the oven, is I put it at the bottom of the oven, and then just at the last minute to get that crackling to go, I pop on the grill, and that gives it a lovely long distance relationship between the grill and the pork crackling, and it'll pop it out perfectly for you every single time.